Welcome to Wandering Monster, America's Test Table. I am John Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
Ian Servas.
Max Booth.
There we go. That's all of us. Obviously, you know the four of us. We're here every single week. The four of us.
Yeah. All four of us.
All the four of us. No one else. I do like that Max is hedged in shadow and strange light, much as Patchkey usually is.
That's true.
So, a while back, we were talking about this the other day, Max. A while back,
I know
you made a post on Twitter, or rather, PMMP, your publishing company. Oh, hello everyone. This is Max Booth, our special guest for the night. Max is the editor, one of the editors-in-chief of Ghoulish Books and Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing. He's written such books as Maggot Screaming, We Need to Do Something, The Nightly Disease. We Need to Do Something is also a movie now, so if you hate reading, you can still enjoy it. Anyway, as I was,
you left out Unforgivably Handsome as well, which
keep talking about.
I mean, because
that's the truth.
With all the rest of that,
of
it's just fucking unfair. Yeah.
So a few. God damn it! I have to not look at chat. A while back, you put out a post on Twitter, essentially saying like, "Hey, because of what's going on in the world right now, we are opening submissions only for POC authors." This was a while back, and you got a lot of backlash for that. And one of the things that one of the things I've struggled with is, making sure our catalog is not mayonnaise flavored, so to speak. And, that I think that oftentimes when you go into role-playing game, TTRPG, playing spaces, you're confronted by, let's say, 4 white dudes with beards sitting there with headsets on, staring at a Oh, goddamn. Anyway, my point is that over the last few years, I've seen more and more games that are celebrating like African mythology, seeing Black game creators, Asian game creators, people of color, people of different means, non-binary, different gender identities, different sexual orientations. Is that even still a phrase?
Yeah, we've tracked this on Oncast, our Twitter, in article after article. It's like Southeast Asian representation in games is going up.
Oh yeah, Filipino
Latin American
especially.
Representation in games is going up. Different mythological systems are being introduced other than just the fucking Vikings, and there's decolonializing games that imagine, like, for example, Peru or like America if it had never suffered from colonialism.
I've talked about Nawal on this show,
and it has been a wonderful thing to see, kind of a blossoming that I welcome and would like to see more of.
Absolutely. Which brings us to tonight's thing, and I do apologize for cutting you off, Charles. No, that was on purpose. We tried to do a thing where we just barely overlap, so that we keep the energy high, and it usually just ends with me being an asshole. But
I just wait to be uncaged.
So God, shut up, Ian. Shut up. I'm talking now. It's John's turn still. That brings us to tonight's game. One thing that has slowly kind of come to the surface of the intersectionality talk is ableism. We have differently abled cosplayers, gamers, people taking the stage. A few years back, maybe 2 years back now, at Games Done Quick, there was a speedrunner with, I want to say, MS, who like really highlights accessibility in games. So it's taking more and more of a stage, and tonight we are really happy to highlight a game that is in Kickstarter right now called Sins of the Adventurers, that really highlights differently abled adventurers. Okay, Ian, I'm taking us to the other screen. You can tell us all about it.
I'm free. So
It's your turn now.
So Sins of the Adventurers is a fantastic game that really fills a niche. I think that without getting any of the current controversies within the TTRPG world, because there are a plenty these days, that there's a definite resounding need for more truly inclusive gaming that represents that through not just flavor text, but through mechanisms that are woven inherently in the game that also are representative of true diversity. There's been a great movement to really kind of put those elements in games, but retroactively kind of shoehorning in it feels like table dressing. So this game is fundamentally built from the ground up to really emphasize that. And not just individual representation, but also what does that mean in the context of the group with group dynamics. So instead of putting conflict first in a game, this is more about what is your individual person's journey and passions and what makes them who they are, magnified by the gestalt of what it means to be in that group. And how do you support each other while doing responsible, ethical adventuring? So the tagline itself of the game is it's a level-less tabletop RPG about accomplishing dreams, accepting responsibility, and earning redemption. So it definitely does a pretty impressive job of having a diversity of characters that doesn't pull on doing any type of infringement on actual cultures. It makes more extant fantasy culture, but then brings in real world disabilities and differentness and conditions that players themselves might have. And how do you choose to handle that? Either experiencing them as they are in its natural form, or using magical technological interventions to compensate for that.
For instance, on the Kickstarter page, they mentioned, I want to say, 20 classes with 60 variant races, just plethora of combinations. But if you look at the art, you'll see that there's prostheses everywhere, like a crossbow prostheses, a sword prostheses, which, man, hooked me up. I'll stab burger all night. And a magical wheelchair. So it is very interesting. One thing I do want to say is that we were gifted a early copy of the Quick Start rules. And so we're not working with the full text, and part of what we're doing as America's Test Table is we're helping finding the nooks and crannies where players can trip over or get snagged, so that we can go back and say, here's where we needed clarification. Here's where we felt things could be more fleshed out.
Some people do play testing. We here do stress testing.
we do
will
stress
break
test.
your game. Invite us to break your game live on air, and we will do so if possible.
It's funny you mention that because stress level is one of the mechanisms. How well are you coping? So it's a pretty good mechanism that really kind of reflects where you are now with your journey and where you are in the future. Magic is also an important thing because magic is a force of itself that can kind of corrupt you and the world around you if you don't use it responsibly. So we should make sure that we give credit to Aegis Armorsmith, who has written this book. And right now, looking at Kickstarter, you're just a little over 60, almost 70% of the way. So if this speaks to you and you want to bring these mechanisms to the table, I'd recommend making sure that you kickstart that to really build us to fruition, because I think that the most important thing in this is that this is very genuine and honest. I think we can all detect when there's virtue signaling versus something that's really truly trying to make
Authentic.
a difference. Authentic. There we go. Nail on the head. So
From the heart.
So, without further ado, unless there's any other commentary the three of you would like to add, we'll go ahead and introduce the characters and then kind of go a little bit into the backstory of the party themselves and then the world around them. All right, that means then we'll go ahead and introduce today's cast of characters.
I am playing Mouse Mush. I'm a big mushroom man. If you're watching the Twitch, I'm that big guy right there. The shirtless one with the 80s shoulder pads. I'm a big old mushroom man. I'm pretty scarred up from some gnarly fire damage. You can kind of see glowing embers still in some of the wounds, and I shift color to communicate. I'm like a phosphorus multichromatic shroomman.
Cuttlefish.
That sounds really, really dope, and like it would be a big hit at Burning Man.
I am a big dope that you can smoke.
Sweet.
And what name do you want people to go by, and your chosen pronouns?
I'm a big mushroom, so they them is probably gonna work just fine. They them it.
Which brings us to me. I will be playing Othram, only one name necessary. My class is Voidwalker. In particular, I am a Leviathan. So I was
That
created
cheeky
along...
picture in the corner is a Leviathan.
And along with my brethren, I was created by a lich out of soul fragments. So I'm not composed of many singular souls, but like broken up bits of soul in a bag. I look sort of like a slightly ghostly, blue-skinned person with floating white hair. So perhaps like a Smurf if they had eaten a piece of John's character.
Oh, no.
And am transcending, reality just a little bit. Pit-like eyes, of course, just like in real life. So, and yeah, that's me.
I guess I'm next, huh? Okay,
Save the best for last.
Hello, my name is Greg Kafka. I am
Yes,
a
Greg.
insectoid, aka a bug man. I live in the ground and I come out every 2 decades. And my main dream and objective on this earth is to populate the planet with my seed. So that's basically what it seems like I'm doing. I'm sensitive to light. I don't like it. I think it's too bright. I also am a musician. I play a string instrument. I call it the fid, aka the fiddy. That's what I do. I also do magic sometimes.
Now, I do want to ask Greg, when you say you do magic,
Yes.
do you mean like combative magic, or do you mean like a children's magician?
Oh no, I play magic. The magic.
Oh,
the
snap!
That's not gonna.
Cool.
I was
It's not
not
gonna
expecting
come.
that response.
I'm not.
I'm happy I got it.
So usually I
I'm-
get pissed because I don't understand the rules and I commit a homicide against whoever I am playing with. So that's something you might need to watch out for if we decide to play magic during this event.
Oh, I hope you don't.
I
get
don't know if we're
starved.
gonna play Magic, but I'm so glad that you mentioned your fiddle because I forgot to say that I've got I think in my inventory, Game Master did it imply 2 saxophones because saxophones was plural. And,
Well, you could play either. You can play alto or baritone.
Or soprano.
True story.
Or soprano.
I know one guy on planet Earth who can play both at the same time, like alto or bari, like 2 saxophones. And it's because he's had his tongue surgically bifurcated like a lizard and has also
You know
been
a
played
lizard
Stack
man?
a million. Yeah, I do. His name's Dave Matney. Shouts to Dave Matney if he's out there watching or listening. You can
Did you say
find
his
him
name was
at
Dave
Matney
Matthews?
X on Twitter. Yeah, Matney. Yeah, Dave Matthews. Yeah.
How fucked up would it be if one of the people was that guy who just stumbled on our Twitch? He was like, "Oh shit, that's me."
I really hope so. If it is Dave,
So
if it is Dave,
maybe
much love, man.
maybe I'm gonna say this because I keep like a track on both the chat and then like the people, and I find it interesting that it would be like, oh, so we're at 6 people. Oh, we're at 5 people. Oh, we're at 6 people. I'm like I'm just imagining people that like click in for 1 second, like, oh, nope.
Why are they talking about Dave Matthews having 2 tongues?
Dave
well,
Matthews
you know,
was,
our podcast
infamous
motto
lizard
is
man.
"fuck 'em." Yes,
That's true.
Remember, send all of your complaints to Joe Rogan.
Right to his stupid
our public service representative.
So when you make a character class, you get to pick what your kind of your heritage is, and there may be some sub-variants that give flavor to that. But then also you have a class that's really structured about how you manifest magic. So there's an intersection between your stat system, which are 3 couplets of 2 different attributes, basically, your race and your class, and it all kind of shapes this all together. It's very loosely defined in a way that you get to really define how it manifests. So each of our 3 characters here have a completely different way of interacting and seeing the world. They all have their own internal dreams, both short and long term goals, and they may or may not have a different ableness or condition or disability, depending how
I
they
think
see
we should let
themselves.
all of that come out through gameplay.
Exactly. So that I like how that wasn't immediately really too like overtly disclosed, and that's something that's going to come through organically rather than just being shoehorned, because it's not the focus of your identity; it's just part of your identity. So, with that, we shall be. Unless there's any other factoids that you want to share about your characters.
Oh, I have a Morin Core.
Why don't you explain what that is for the viewership who may not be
Absolutely
familiar
not.
with it?
It is
Yeah, explain to those guys.
It is a stringed Mongolian instrument, kind of a mix between a shamisen and a fiddle or cello. My friend,
Is it bowed or plucked?
You plucked?
Bowed.
Do we have a band name?
That is something that we're going to improv.
Wait, hold on, Max. What's our band name?
The Dave Matthews Band.
What did you just say?
The Dave Matthews Band.
We are the Dave Matthews Band.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Wait, can it be? But that's actually short for Two-Tongued Dave Matthews Band, which is our full band name.
Yeah, it was Dave Matney, but yeah, okay.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I'll let him know. You can get the paperwork filed. But yeah, I like Two-Tongue Dave and
Two-Tongue Dave.
Yeah.
All right, we'll write that down. So, to contextualize the adventure that we have for this evening, all of the players here have met each other because they met during an open talent night at a tavern, the Broken Broom, and they all liked each other's sound, and so it just happened to be, why don't we put together this strange sound together? You have the leg fiddle, since you are people would describe you if they were used to, if they knew what Earth was like, a cockroach, like a giant bipedal cockroach. Would you say that is correct, Greg?
Yeah, Bugman will do as well.
And then you have the Mushman, who is playing this strange Mongolian-esque, long-necked, stringed instrument.
I'm also the singer.
Fair.
I thought that your character was non-vocal.
I cannot form words. No.
Okay, so you can make some type of noise.
I can make a thrumming hum various pitches through my mushroom frills.
All right, so you are doing the Mongolian throat singing.
I am. Yes.
Okay, well, let me know if
And
you
the
change
frills
your
are the throat
character's
of the mushroom.
dream, since no, yeah, you could let me know if you change your character's dream.
I will.
All right, thank you.
I did the
And
backup vocals.
With your legs?
No, I can imagine
No,
with the
my-
mandibles, like this clacking, clicking. I don't
Like
know.
a castanet.
One thing about my kill is I have a really wet
Yes.
mouth, so I can make a lot of wet mouth noises.
Just
hey, Max,
imagining.
Could you give me an example of some of those real quick?
Yeah.
We are going to take the world by
To
storm.
translate that into English, what that
Yeah.
was I am the cockroach. I am the cockroach. Man.
Oh, this is going to be delightful. I almost thought about shoehorning an NPC in there just so you'd have an extra instrument or voice, and I think you've got it covered. So
No.
Excellent, excellent.
we'll have the Two-Tongue Dave take the world by storm. So to mention it, that which sacks are you going to be focusing on for our gameplay, Othram?
Oh, definitely the baritone sax.
Baritone sax. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So the three of you have had a couple of small venues that you have done some performances. You're still working on your set list, what your sound really is, and you
I don't
found
think
that
we have a set list. I think we're a jam band.
Well, we have
a set
said
list.
performance. He said performance, not music. You know.
We have a set list. And if you need me to, I can read you the song.
Please do.
tell us about what type of music you play. Tell us your set list.
Okay, so we begin with Crash Into Me. We do Brain Street.
We're gonna get one of those like DMCA like infringements, and our Twitch is gonna get struck down. This is almost as bad as singing "Happy Birthday" and not paying for it.
Yeah, you gotta pay for it. Anytime I celebrate my birthday, I pay for it.
Happy belated birthday, Max.
Happy birthday. So there have been 3 different venues that you've played at. You've played a set at the Shattered Wheel, which is a kind of a small tavern, from the Drunken Goat, which is a slightly larger establishment, even have a second story on the tavern.
Did you say the Drunken Goat?
Yeah, that's correct.
Nice. Call back.
Yeah, that is nice.
And then Frog Hollow, which is on the outskirts of a swamp, but had a surprisingly large outdoor venue. So where you're not really a word of mouth type of band yet, you're starting to get a couple of, drunk locals that are like, I remember that, but it's also hard not to forget a 3-piece band of an other ghostly corporal being, a giant mushman, and a giant cockroach. But that being said, you've been really waiting for that one break that helps you to get the coins to fund your dreams and really take things off. So it's when you hear that there is a big show that's coming up. It's kind of like a battle of the bands, but for different types of musical acts across the countryside. And it's being reopened. It's going to be showcased in the reopened Octavia Theater, which mysteriously burned down 5 years ago and has rumors of being haunted. So what better way to rechristen an opening of a former derelict theater fixed up than to have a good old-fashioned battle of the bands?
I immediately think of like every Battle of the Bands movie I've ever seen, and I'm picturing like Tenacious D or Jack Black and 7 high school kids leave the stage, followed by Greg Kafka coming on stage at the audience for 20 minutes.
That's my thing. Don't copy it.
Sorry.
Well, the headliner
No
is
disrespect.
the headliner is Gigi Allen, so it sort of makes sense,
So you have a couple of hours before the show, so you find yourselves back at the Drunken Goat for either some pre-show planning or drinks as you get into your focus zone. Tell me a little bit about how you're going to approach your show. You know that there's going to be several other bands performing, some of which you might have a mild rivalry with. So, what's your approach? Do you want to kind of discuss the bands that you're going to be competing against, what your set is, or kind of harkening back to what your dreams and motivations are, what you're going to do once you win the big pot prize?
I think what we need to do to really win this thing is I think we need a big. The winner is always the one that gets everyone on their feet. They have a giant 40-piece band that's playing country roads. So we need what we need to do is we need to incorporate every other style of music that exists all at once and run around the stage hitting all those instruments to simulate that 40-piece band and that intermusicing stylings.
Okay, hear me
Yeah,
out.
I
here.
agree with that. Isn't that what Fred Dills did with Limp Bizkit, basically?
I think we should just do some Fred Durst songs. I think we should do a Stained song with Fred Durst featuring.
So just to continue into the gameplay of this game, my Skeletal Greg, that's me. I'm a big fan of the Chocolate Stillfish albums specifically. I grew up, so I have to live in the ground for 2 decades. Then I come out. So in those 2 decades, I've mostly just been listening to brick stuff, Oval and Oval. I don't know if they've released a new album since, but if we could do something like that with the Dave Matthews Band we have, that would be great.
We also have a suggestion from the chat gestalt, which is maybe your sound should be acid snake jazz.
Acid? What?
We also have a suggestion from the audience that says we should just play a Gigi Allen song.
Who's going to defecate on stage?
I like the fact we spent the first part of our episode talking about inclusion and sensitivity, and it went straight off that
my
window.
fault.
I'm kidding.
That's my fault.
You always keep me on my toes.
I think that definitely going electric is key. Everyone was super happy about it when Dylan went electric, and I think that we could have the same success if we incorporated the electric John's instrument and the electric saxophone. And what do you play?
So,
Max, the Fid.
I mean,
me,
Bill. So, on that earlier, John, you rolled a 6. That was before I even asked you to roll something. My question is, as you are all planning your sound here, are you wanting to apply that 6 now?
So that wasn't a 6 that I rolled. Andrew asked how many dice what side of dice were you using?
I apologize. I was only cutting off a little bit of Charles saying because I was going to trigger an event if you had rolled a 6. So
roll, dude, roll. Fuck, roll.
I rolled a 1.
All right.
Roll the opposite of
1
6.
dice.
As you are planning, someone rudely cuts off Othram as it is communicating its desire for the sound, as there is the sound of "What'd you say about my mother?" And then you hear something like unaudibly growling, like you see a lycanthrope, almost like a werewolf person that's in between being a werewolf and a wolf were, growling something that you can't quite get, but you can see the hackles are completely up on this individual, and they immediately start tussling. Chairs start flying, their pint glasses, and all of a sudden, hell breaks out in the Drunken Goat. There is this wild bar fight that is going from all the way from the east side of the tavern to the west side and is quickly approaching your table. The three of you have like about a round to react to either get out of the fray or somehow participate in this mob. What do you do?
Question.
Answer.
Did we hear what the other party said about the werewolf's mother?
So different. One of the interesting things in this game is that people communicate differently. Some people, their physiology means they can only communicate in one way or another. So, for example, John's character communicates partly through spores and also like chromatophores, like a cuttlefish. So not in that. So there's definitely this musky scent that the lycanthrope character is communicating in. Do you think that your character's physiology would be able to detect and understand pheromonic communication? Or would that be lost on you?
I would know it.
Yeah, Max's probably would.
I mean, I've spent the past 20 years studying all types of languages in my cockroach bunk. So,
I meant Max Booth himself wouldn't understand pheromones, but Greg too, probably.
Then Greg would pick it up probably before all of you, because Greg is very much in tune with smells and things, that's very important to the hive. So you immediately know that the comment that was being made had to do with this person's mother's fecundity and their usage of that fecundity in multiple permutations, with an insinuation of general rudeness.
Yeah,
that is just off limits.
Yeah,
so that you know that was the root of this, was very much insulting someone's mother. Maybe there was some type of poker game or magic game that was disrupted. Maybe that was really the root of all of this.
Pogs.
But regardless of what's happening, this fight is coming right towards you. So think about your values and what's important to you. How are you going to approach this situation?
We got to fight, right?
We don't have to.
There's not going to be time. We'll do this as this is happening so fast that there's not going to be a group discussion. I'm going to do a round robin from my perspective, put each of you on the spot for what you're going to do in this situation. So we're going to start with Mawish. Mawish, you're seeing this tidal wave of anger coming towards your way.
I reach into a sack at my side, pop a gummy bear, a maple leaf, and some sugar in my mouth, and cast a wall of like slow motion around us that sticks everyone in as though they're moving through molasses.
Is this going to be something that's just immediately like a small veil in front of you, or is this a protective bubble around your party?
It's like a shockwave of intangible molasses, like exploding out from me, like a shockwave.
Okay.
Like a shockwave of aspic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for
there's
the viewers
there's the name of our first album.
So for the viewers that aren't familiar with this kind of basic quick start rule, the level of effect of the spells that you cast go up in effect. So the larger and more grandiose they are, the more difficult it is to cast it with different types of repercussions. So I need to know from you, Mawish, is this going to be localized immediately around you, or is this going to extend to the whole tavern?
This is not the whole tavern. This is the people coming towards us.
All right, so this is going to be a moderate effect because this is the wall of people. They're just throwing tables at this point now. So this is going to be that you're going to have to roll 2d6, and on this dice you have to get at least 1 5 or 1 6, or it fails. Before you roll, you need to figure out which of your 2 links is going to be your weakest link. So this is going to be a tier 2 for you. That's either going to be finesse or memory.
Memory is my weak one.
Okay.
That's a failure. I rolled a 1 and a 2, baby.
All right. So this will be interesting. So you are still masticating with your gummy gills the gummy bear, and it's just kind of flopping around here. So it's not, you're not absorbing it to really cast your gourmage magic quite right, you're able to make this gummy kind of goo that shoots outward in all directions away from your table, almost like a sticky spider web. But you it seems to really kind of plaster on everything. You have a problem that as your spell goes outward, it folds in on itself and it completely plasters you in the sticky film that is preventing your chromatophores from communicating effectively. It just kind of sticks to you and it's dulling your already deadened bodily senses, and you start to get this claustrophobic panic about you as you're feeling you're losing a little bit of contact with the outside world. So you get one adrenaline token, and those are what are used to do reactionary actions in this game. But you've definitely just basically gummed everything around you. And in fact, immediately people, like their boots stick to the floor, they stop for a second, and they just look at you, almost like a kid that's just made a big bubblegum bubble that's popped all over yourself. And you're flailing in your own goo.
I'm not flailing, but I am uncomfortable.
Next up in my initiative is going to be Othram. So Othram, there was this gummy splatter sound, and this gummy bear scented goo just splatters everywhere in front of you, avoiding you. And people immediately by you are gummed, and they're kind of just stopping. They're fighting for a second. People in the back corner, they're still beating the crap out of each other. But the tavern kind of has a hushed lull at first, and they're looking straight at the mushman.
So, despite its relative failure, it have bought us a couple minutes of wiggle room or a couple seconds of wiggle.
That's what it seems to be like. There's an immediate shock here where everyone's just kind of frozen, where they're trying to figure out what's going to happen, because magic is also a pretty powerful tool. So the fact that you failed it and is kind of intervening in the world, everyone's kind of a little bit odd for a second, and also they're covered in half molten gummy bear goo. So are you capitalizing on this and doing something else to intervene in this scene, or are you wanting to get out of the scenario? Also, for perspective, whenever you're stuck and trying to figure out how you want to act in the scene, you can always do these major actions, which is attack, perform something confrontational, assist, perform something helpful, defend, perform something protective for yourself or another, or relocate, get out of that confrontation.
Yeah, that's a great menu of options. Thank you. That's quite helpful. I think in this case, I am going to defend we were at a table, right?
That's correct.
I'm just going to kick that table over so we can kind of crouch behind it. Create a makeshift barrier that way, since my strength is my predominant attribute. And I have to roll 3 dice and get what for that to succeed?
No, you don't really need to roll in this situation, because like you're saying, that's something that you're good at. You're able to flip that table over. And in fact, as you flip that table over, you make a stretched barrier out of the gummy fibers that kind of just makes an even larger barricade in front of you. You almost twang on it, how thick it is. So you've got a barrier in case people start their brawling, moshing again. You've got a little extra wiggle room there. So, Greg, you've seen all this kind of happen in a quick instance. Your senses are really tintillated by that gummy bear maple leaf sugar lump smell. And you're not sure if this fight's going to pick up again, or if this was enough to diffuse it. The tension is still quite thick in the air. They could either fizzle out or it could be stoked up again. What are you doing in this?
So I'm taking, like, my instinct is I take out my instrument that I play my music on, and I just break it over the head of the closest body by me.
So Okay, so you're choosing violence. For one second, I thought you were going to like play a song, and I was like, everyone's going to start partying, and then I'm like, well, wait, you're gonna instigate. I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly.
I'm playing a song called Violence.
By Muse.
Is the song taking physical contact with another individual?
He is attacking someone with his fiddle.
I wanted to make
giving
sure, because
someone a
I like
concussion.
dry humor, but I wanted to make sure, from a GM perspective, I was interpreting correctly.
I'm trying to
John,
commit homicide. Maybe
Okay.
manslaughter. Or this.
it's John Cale's smash violin.
So you see a lithe body orc next to you who is just gummed. They are pulling on their boots, trying to get free. Not really posing an immediate threat, although they've got some pretty thick biceps. So you're like, that's the one. This person in particular. So you take
Plus,
your
that Pilsen also slept with my wife.
So
Coincidence.
you instigate violence by taking the bowstring and then just taking attack. Now, keep in mind, your character does have 2 shovels. If you would like to strike with something a little bit more forceful, would you? Okay. So you take your bowstring, and in this case, so that's not going to be. So in the game that you have items that you are proficient or not proficient or have some mastery, there's different levels of expertise. So you're going to be attacking this orc. They're not going to be expecting it, so you're going to be getting the element of surprise. So you're going to be rolling 1d6 for damage towards them. They are going to do their best. They can't really dodge, so they're going to be trying to parry you at the best.
I have a 5.
All right. So they rolled lower than you. So you take your bowstring and you just stab them in the face by going for the eyes.
Like a garrote, man.
No, I break it over with the back of the head.
Oh, okay. So you take your bow and you crack it over the head of this orc, and there's this splintering sound, and the orc winces and you cold cocked him. So you just flat out. All right, so this is interesting. So if we think about this, the Mushman had a burst of goo while the Leviathan flipped over a table, and then immediately you crack the skull of an orc within 6 seconds. So,
listen, as a band, you have to know how to do these things when you get into a tough spot. This is not the first time we've covered someone in goo and then killed them.
All right. So either this could happen in one of 2 ways. Either this is going to completely squelch the fight, or it's going to re-instigate it. Who wants to roll to figure out what effect this has? High is going to be you're going to quell the fight, and low is it picks up again.
Max, you cold cocked the guy. Why don't you roll?
Okay, here we go, folks. I have a 6.
All right, so you immediately just fill the tavern with this sense of awe and panic in a way. And if everyone wasn't really just gummed to the floor, they would probably just, run out of here. But everyone is basically kind of gummed up in the tavern. The barkeep is looking very angrily, very aggressively polishing the pured tankards, giving you the stink eye as if you owe for the tavern damages, but they're going to wait to break that up into a later time.
We're Two-Tongue Dave Matthews Band! Woo! I can't say that. I thrum. I thrum and throw the horns.
So you try... So you just throw up your limbs and you make this gurgly...
but like my skin is like a laser light show.
But it's covered in goo, so you're not able to communicate well with your chromatophores because you're covered in your goo. So you are just flailing and moaning awkwardly. And it's adding a preternatural sound. You're almost like one of those when you go to a Halloween store and there's those like moaning ghost things that hang from a string, but you're a giant mushroom. It's really intimidating. Everyone now is like shaking in their boots. So
we're the best band ever. We're Spinal Tap, essentially.
We really are. At this point, since I'm next in the round robin, I think, right?
Yes.
I'm going to help clean my compatriot, the Mushroom Man, with an assist. By like, how impervious is this goo? Like, will you require solvent?
So this was to be a complication, so it's not going to be easily resolved. So you're going to have to either expend magic to resolve this issue or go out of your way to find something to clean him up. So are you staying here at the tavern, or are you leaving, since you've also just done a moderate amount of damage to the integrity of the building and people's clothing, and you've also this cold cock and orc?
I know this is gonna just be like ruinous, but I am going to cast entropic unweaving of the cosmic thread on his goop, and I think that like that's a 2
This could be
die
a tier
stat.
1 because you're localizing it just to one target, so that's not going to be that large. So that means that you will need to. Well, let me pull up your character class here for which stats. So that is going to be aura or awareness. So you need to roll. So which one is going to be your weakest link? Aura is how people perceive your spell. Awareness is how aware you are of other people's magic and feelings and such.
I'd better do aura.
Okay, so you need to roll 4 or higher on 1d6 or you fail.
Okay, let's see how this goes. And that's a 3, so not good.
All right, so because aura, for this example, is what failed, you're not really controlling this spell well. Your character as a Void Walker, your magic comes from opening portals to other planes, and you talked about dissolution. So you've opened up a plane to some realm of cosmic horror and utter chaos, and these portals that you create stay open until you actively close them. And the complication that happens on a tier 1 failure is that your magic wiggles away from your control. So your portal to the realm of chaos isn't staying fixed. It's moving around the room and spewing chaos areas. So yes, Mausch, you get your goo dissolved off of you and your gills are opened again, and you're able to use your chromatophores and all of that, and you've got this breath of relief. But now you've got almost like, imagine a bat loose in a tavern, but the bat is a portal to the realm of chaos, and it's just flying around the rafters. And,
I think we might be late for battle bands. We should just go, right? Like,
I think we just created a tourist attraction for this.
Yeah, we should book it.
How big is it? The thing flying around?
It's about fist sized.
Can I choose to swallow it?
Well, it's something immaterial, so you would your mouth would just kind of appear on the other side in the abyss.
I see.
So you're not sure what that would invite in.
That sounds cool.
Something tasty.
It might help with the instrument playing,
especially since you no longer have an instrument.
The abyss.
Yeah, I would like to invite the abyss into my stomach.
Be careful what you wish for.
All right.
I think that's happened to me already.
I had Taco Bell earlier. It definitely happened to me.
All right. Now, I am never saying no. I will say, is this in line with your character's goals, barriers, and dreams? If it is, go for it.
Let's do it, baby. I've always wanted to swallow the abyss as a young cockroach.
All right. So
Greg
me
Stamps
figure out the
might be a
best
little
way
more
to-
Max Booth flavored, you know.
All right. So this is definitely always a yes and. So I am trying to figure out the best way for you to get a hold of a void that is actively skipping around like a fluttered bat.
So my thought would be I would just run around with my mouth open, trying to guess what's going to go next. Like I am a net of flesh, basically.
Of chitin, really.
Yes. And
Wow.
why don't you? Your character's magic is based on. So this is going to be moving around pretty fast. Would you like to cast a spell to freeze it down and make this easier?
Yeah, let's do that.
So I will say that this is going to be a tier 1 spell for you. That'd be aura or awareness. So Greg's magic is he is an entomancer. So his magic is cast by projecting his brood as larvae, informing him to like a magic projectile or conduit of magical forces. So you are basically squirting out your spawn in such a way. And this magic is like because you said earlier when it's like shoot out maggots, screaming maggots, like that these are your larvae, your children that you're casting your magic through. So go ahead.
I would say, these maggots will be screaming. Absolutely.
You son of a bitch.
So we'll say probably aura is going to be your weakest link. So you're going to roll 1d6, and you need to cast 4 or higher. And if I didn't say it to you earlier, Charles, you get 1 stress or 1 adrenaline token.
I got a 3.
All right, so you fire a lot of your larvae trying to make a lasso to hold this void in place. Unfortunately, half of the amount of brood that you fire at the void gets sucked into another plane, and you don't know what happens to them. The ones that hold in position are able to freeze the void in space, but you notice that your larvae are starting to get a little bit corrupted with void magic. Like their eyes are going black in a way that's darker than larvae eyes should be.
Yeah. And
their limbs are twitching in a way, or their bodies are writhing in a way that is not becoming of a right and proper larvae. So something funky is here. But you have frozen the void in space and time if you're wanting to poke your insectoid head into the void and glimpse what's on the other side.
Yeah, that's why we do anything, right? That's why we wake
That's
up in the morning. Just want to stick our heads into a business. As
a caveat, in the quick start rules, it's not really specified how the planes work. There are 12 planes that lap around each other and kind of move around in a big circle. The whole book will talk more about the planes, so without me knowing more what planes are and how they function, you basically stick your head into a Lovecraftian realm of darkness, of pyramidal glowing shapes, vaguely ominously thrumming in the background with rolling clouds, tentacles, and the sounds of Byakhee screaming in the distance. You find that your head is stuck in the portal as if it's wanting to pull all of you across, and you're kind of just mid-air, all of your 6 limbs twitching, as you were just kind of held here in stasis with a lasso of your own brood facing the void.
Okay, I've got an idea. Do you want to join forces with me for a second, John? Because I think that if you put all your weight on one leg and I put all my weight on another leg, we can probably just pop Greg right out of there, right?
What if you rip them off? I'm an insect.
It could also rip your head off, but that is a possibility. It's hazard,
We've known each
life
other.
is a hazardous thing.
we've known each other for a few weeks now, and I would die for y'all. So yeah, I'm going to I'm actually give me 1 second.
It'll be better
Okay,
than
I know what I
whatever
do.
it is.
I know what I do. I reach
Okay.
into my bag. I reach into my bag of tricks, which does have tricks in it, by the way. And
Delicious.
I am going to pop into my mouth some dirt, a sprig of mint, and a piece of ivy, and I am going to essentially summon a large vine to reach up, wrap around Greg, and wrench him back out of the void.
All right. I would say that's probably a minor spell for you. So for you, Mouse, that would be power and resilience. Which would be the one that you are
I think
finding to be your weakest link?
I'm tapping into power right now.
All right.
Power.
All right. So that has to do with your. All right. Yeah. So do you need to roll 4 or higher on 1d6? 3
So
as well?
I think maybe I don't know, maybe magic is a little too hard to do.
Now keep in mind you still get the effect that you want ish. You're just getting a different level of complication. And you get a adrenaline token that is actually pretty powerful and helps balance some of the challenges that you get. So you make this leafy appendage.
I rolled a 1, by the way, just so you know.
So you get an appendage that pulls
and rips
Greg
right
out of the void, but you lose control of the tentacle as per the complication. So it begins to slam Greg back and forth against the floor.
Oh, Greg.
So Greg, we'll consider this to be an attack, and then we'll kind of resolve this tavern scene. So Greg, your character is a small size. So that means that dodging is your best ability. So you get to roll 3d6 against the tentacles 1d6, and we'll see who rolls higher.
So I'm rolling this 3 times. Yes.
Statistically, I rolled a 2, so you can't not beat this.
Statistically, you can't not. I love that.
I concede.
So you are able to barrel roll out of the way. I mean, you're snared by the tentacle. You're pulled back from the void. You still have these glowing pyramids imprinted upon what serves as a retina for your insectoid race. You're able to dodge out of the way, or get out of the coils of the vindy tendril, and then the vine tendril continues to smash and break tables, pummel the poor unconscious body of the orc, who you now are looking and realizing might be a member of one of the bands that's supposed to be playing tonight.
Former member.
Oh, I knew
Former
that.
member. They actually might be the front person for. Actually, no, they're one of the Orc Brothers, a 4-orc barbershop quartet.
Trio.
Now a trio, tragically.
So you extricate yourself gracefully from this tavern in chaos. It once again erupts into riotous discombobulation as you make your way towards the Octavia Theater. And you might be late for your performance. You actually weren't too sure what your lineup order was since you were too busy brawling. So you need to hightail it and skedaddle to the tavern or to the theater to see if you haven't missed your time or not.
I got this one.
So you're going to roll me 1d6 to see.
Oh, I was gonna.
Oh no, you volunteered to roll me 1d6.
Okay. I was gonna try and wrench open the void
Oh,
using my strength, but 5, so that works for me.
Okay, so once you get to the theater, and when you see this building, you're filled with trepidation, because you know that this place has been off limits for a long time. People have explored within the charred ruins of it and disappeared, or at least that's what the rumors say, that there are angry, wrathful spirits in here, that there's all kinds of rumors. So you have this weird sense of fear and excitement when you see that this theater has been completely rebuilt. And looking at the playbill, your band is the 5th in order, and the 4th band is currently playing. The 4th band that is playing is the Eggleston 6. It is an all-Orthinian group, or avian, bird-like hominids that are playing egg-based instrument, either as percussion.
I hate that so much. Like, what dad wrote this joke? What dad wrote this? Oh no, we lost Max.
It was me.
Max is so angry about your eggs.
So some of the bird-like people are blowing into the eggs to make that kind of bottle-like. It's almost like a jug band, but with eggs.
Imagine hollowed out human babies, or like perhaps just baby skeletons, and we've just got a jug band of baby skulls.
Eggshells.
They're birds, though.
It looks like they're halfway through their set. So the audience themselves looks to be a mix between the middle and upper crust, pretty wealthy people. That must be where the pot is coming from. So if anyone, actually, Othram, you get this sense of fear and hatred around the theater, and when you look around the place, especially in the corners, for a brief second, you think you see spectral outlines of wrathful-looking figures that your compatriots don't seem to see. But being in tune with shattered and broken creatures, you feel that fear and longing and loathing in your heart, as you know what it's like to be a shattered thing. And this place is filled with shattered things. No one else notices because there's someone hooting on an egg over there.
Real quick, Max, I'm not. You dropped for a second. I just want to let you know that there's a bunch of eggs on stage currently.
What? I lost my connection.
Yeah, tons of eggs. There's at least 3 of them.
Is it my turn to do an action?
There are 6 bird people playing egg-based instruments.
Oh man!
And
you know where they need to go.
They're set. You're on stage.
So it's up to
all
me.
Right. So
okay.
I will share my perception with my fellows and let them do.
You might
what
need
they
to
will.
tell Greg that, because Greg was kind of doing. Greg was staring at like the pyramid that's like building in his mind from staring at the great beyond.
Right.
I've seen so
Happens
much.
to the best of us. Greg, there's like some busted up ghosts in this place.
I just want to point out that Ian spent 5 minutes describing the woe-begone sepulcher of disaster that lies behind the spiritual realm of this place. And Charles' translation of that was like, yeah, there's some fucking ghosts or some shit. I don't know. I wasn't listening to this stupid shit.
Hey man, some of us are Hemingway and some of us are Tommy Wolfe. You know how it is.
You are right. You should be the Hemingway. You have books.
And you've got bird people playing like Camptown races on like eggs and stuff. I don't know, like what jug band, like contemporary, like
not that. Jug band is a cool concept.
It's bird jug band cover band of 9 Inch Nails.
Yes, now we're talking. Yeah.
So
I want to fuck you like a pelican. That's one of the song.
Nope.
So
That's what they're currently playing.
So long.
I think that Gregor's really eager to act here. Is what I'm feeling from my teammate.
Yeah. So I have a question before we continue. I don't have an instrument right now. Is that going to be an issue? Because I
That's
feel
what we
like
gotta figure out.
I mean, luckily for you guys, I can play a mean egg. So all we have to do is figure out how to get one of these eggs.
that's
I don't know if they have any extra eggs laying around, like a free, like just like the egg Dremel throwing an
like
egg,
like the yarmulke box at the front of a synagogue.
Place run on.
So that's great. So when we think about what this world is like, it's near utopia-ish in a way that the great age of adventuring has ended in one way, which is where people are exploiting others for profit. And now we're looking at more cooperativeness. In fact,
I like
when you
it.
look at your character sheet, instead of having a extant, very described out inventory, you have a hobby that you would reasonably have things that would fill that hobby. So, for example, if we're talking about Greg's hobbies, unless Greg wants to countermand me, was written as playing the fiddle and harmonica, trash water connoisseur, tunneling, and calculus, but also likes trigonometry as well. So things related to those hobbies would be reasonably what Greg has on their personage.
So he probably has a harmonica too, then.
Probably has a harmonica.
Yeah, I would prefer to play an egg.
Good. I think you should
So
get
that
an
is
egg.
great. So maybe after the set finishes, you could approach one of the Eggleston 6 to see if maybe they will let you
Six, go to
borrow.
hell.
No,
One
I don't.
other-
I don't like this. No, I don't think Greg would do that. I think we would set up some type of distraction so I could take one from them without them knowing.
Well, they are on stage in front of a large crowd playing a song, so I think they're
Scooby Doo
instruments-
Ghost.
It's going to become complex.
We should be Scooby Doo Ghosts.
Okay.
There's like real ghosts in here though.
Yeah, but they're not doing a good job distracting the crowd.
All right.
Were there ever any Scooby Doos where there was like a real ghost and a fake ghost?
All the movies. Almost
Oh,
all the
okay,
movies
cool.
did that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome to
I was
Wandering
meaning to watch
Monster, our
those, but-
Scooby Doo fan cast.
Okay, so obviously we probably can't steal an egg while they're on stage. I am going to gamble everything on my ability to barter quickly. So to barter. You see, I happen to be in my own hobby a candle maker. And you think that we were just going to let all that goop from the tavern go to waste? Hell no. I have the world's first mushroom goop crafted candle with a bit of a violin string used to murder a dude.
A wick.
Or no, it was the bow wick. So this is like a one-of-a-kind like murder mobilia item. And I think it's totally worth one of their expended eggs, right?
Well, so
They can
they're-
make more.
So they are currently still performing on stage. It looks like
Well,
they have two
as I said,
songs.
I have to do it between them breaking down and us setting up. Which,
Okay,
as
so
any
you're not gonna, like,
playing
approach the
musician will
merc-
tell you. No. But as any musician will tell you, that tear down and setup should take about 4 hours. So
Yeah,
I think we're
right.
good.
All right. So to clarify, you are wanting to wait for their They've got two more songs in their set, so you're going to wait till their set is done before approaching them. Instead of like looking at wealthy patrons or the merch booth and people outside of it, you're going to wait for the Six Bird people to meet you backstage and exchange candle for egg.
I'm just trying to make Greg's dream
No.
come true.
Greg,
Okay,
are you
no, I
going to
just
try
wanted
to
to make
steal
sure.
an egg? Greg, are you going to try to steal an egg while Charles is trying to barter an egg?
Guys, I already took one. No.
All right.
I
So
think-
let's
We need a
rewind that.
montage of like Ocean's 11.
So I'd like us to like maybe like refocus in the context in light of the intention. I heard a sigh of like, there goes Ian trying to rein people in.
Yeah. Okay. So instead of that, yeah.
Well, hold on.
Greg's my man.
Let's take one half step back. We'll just fast forward to the end of the Eggleston Six set, and you approach them with here's a rare memorabilia candle for an eggshell.
Murder
I think
mobilia.
that is a murder mobilia. I think that is a exceptional sectional. I can't.
Exceptional. You bet.
Thank you.
I'm gonna lean into the egg puns while I'm talking to these birds rather.
Excellent. So they will happily exchange you this rare candle for the egg because they could just lay another egg. Here they
Greg,
they
take
think
your
they
pick
have
of the
the
litter.
upper hand.
I take 3 of them.
It's a 1 egg for 1 candle exchange that seems to be, but this is a large egg. So this is a
you probably couldn't fit all 3, is what he's saying.
Yeah. One sounds fine.
I'm sorry, I did miss that.
Right.
Say that again.
Look, okay, Ian, I'm going to do you and our listening audience a favor. There's an inside joke going on here about 3 eggs, and we've been milking it for all of its eggy worth.
So, are you saying that I don't know how to use the 3 eggs?
Those are clams. The eggs are used differently. The eggs are used internally.
I just like eggs, guys.
Yeah, I think
how to play an egg, and I think it would benefit the show.
All right, so I'm going to try to refocus here and rein in. So we have an exchange for 1 candle and 1 egg, and that seems to be a fair trade. In fact, you didn't really catch the bird person's name, but surely they must be in the Eggleston family, or at least that's some type of nom de plume or some kind. But you see that as you are setting up your stage presence, that off stage, that they take this candle, this kind of lumpen weird thing with a fiddle wick standing straight up, and you see them light the candle.
Oh, please have a seance.
And you have decidedly said that this is a murder memorabilia. This is a thing. So you are invoking fire in a place with wrathful spirits that are angered by fire. It is a candle associated with murder. And
I didn't tell them what to do with it. I just sold it to them. Look.
So as you are setting yourself up and you're being ready to have your big moment that your break that you've been waiting for, a chance to win a pot, and further your goals and your dreams, that not even before Greg makes the first egg hoot sound on his new egg instrument with his wet cockroach mouth, there is a large cacophonious wail, this undulating wail of the damned and tormented, as you see materializing from the rafters and sending down is a whole unholy host of just gruntled and upset spirits. They look like they are still roiling in the flames that took their lives. And you hear them screaming out bloody vengeance. The crowd themselves is absolutely petrified beyond belief, and they begin to flood out towards the exits, screaming out. And your one chance of trying to get everyone's attention to get famous musician is utterly smashed. But the doors are locked. All the people that are flooding out, trying to get out of the theater, are stuck, and everyone is stuck in the lobby, beating on the doors, and no one
captive audience
is able to escape from this. The spirits are hounding them, and you notice that flame for that candle that you made that's being lit off stage is getting larger and larger, and the fire jumps from the wick to the curtains. And the curtains engulf in flames.
Great white all over again.
And
I was gonna say, like, this is textbook Battle of the Bands, like Scooby Doo finale, where our music would put the ghost to rest. But now it's on fire.
I was gonna say when you said came through screaming bloody vengeance, I was like, we know that one, 2, 3, 4. But like bloody vengeance was a song, and yeah. Anyway, but
I was there
now
with
we're
you,
just
Charles.
Ooh, I got this. I would
Okay.
like to drop my saxophone. I've got another one, don't worry. And I'd like to use my strange blue ghost-like flesh to wrench open the very fabric of reality itself as a void walker, as a traveler between the planes, and get us the hell out of Dodge. And wherever that may take us, it may take. Oh, you said that it only leads to chaos now, right? Well, I'd like to try to open a chaos gate that leads through about that much chaos, but takes us out the other side of the building. Yeah.
all right.
Is that within my scope of powers? Or
So
can I only walk between other planes by opening portals?
you could do all of that. So if you are wanting to, so your magic itself is literally opening up portals to other planes. So you could make one. So it's a matter of making something large enough for people who aren't used to void walking to escape through. So I think this would be at least a tier 2 to make sure it accommodates your whole group. Did you say that you're wanting to go to another plane or just out the other side of the building? I thought I heard
Let's
both.
say just out the other side of the building. Yeah. Just get out of the flaming structure.
I think that this. I think I'm going to stick with that being a tier 2, because it's going to have to be a large. So that is going to be. That's 2d6 that you need to get a 5 or 6 on. So for you, your pair of abilities, and I realize that I have a typo on that character sheet because I think I was basing off an old sheet, is finesse and focus. So would you want that to, which is going to be your weaker link? Finesse is your magic fluidity. Focus is going to be the finer details.
I'm going to go with focus.
Okay.
Because I like to live dangerously. And that's
I wouldn't
2d6 where I have to get a... Can I spend my
6.
adrenaline to help that roll?
Actually, that's very good that you mentioned that. So one of the things that you can do by spending your adrenaline is to get a critical success. So you can declare that you want to use that, and you still need to roll because we'll see what else that might do, but you will automatically succeed. I think in this case, without clarification further, the rule set, if you might be getting an additional adrenaline from the casting. So go ahead and roll, but you're going to successfully do your intent to the fullest.
All right, let's see. We've got ourselves a 6 and a 1.
All right, so you're able to accurately make a portal that's anywhere within the next 3-block radius of the theater itself. It's going to be a sturdy portal that, in fact, that even after you're done casting it and your friend, your last friend leaves the portal, you can close it behind you because of how well you've cast this. So you're basically casting teleportation without error and pulling the rope trick up behind you for any OSR people out there.
Sweet.
All right, so you rip open
3-block radius. Let's see. Where can we go?
You could go back to the Drunken Goat, but I don't know if that's the best option right now. It also looks like it's on fire as you look through the void.
Excellent.
There is a church nearby to the faith of the smaller god. There is a cafeteria that specializes in various meat pies and meat substitute pies. There is a laundromat where there is all kinds of mechanized washing machines. There's also an abandoned warehouse.
Oh, I like this.
Or you could teleport to the streets.
One question.
All right.
The pastry shop, is it currently open or closed?
Well, it would normally be closed, but it is currently open because they're catering to the late night crowd of theater goers, and they're looking through the void. They look a little bit anxious of why there are less people than expected.
See, I was hoping they were gonna be closed so that I could get us in there after closing time and we could feed to our heart's content. But instead, let's go vacant warehouse.
All right, so you definitely stretch the veil, and for a second there, Greg, you think you see like that glowing, shimmering pyramid again calling you from beyond the veil, but very deftly, you see that Othram fine tunes the portal just between here and some type of dark, dusty building and invites all of you to jump in. At this point, you see the theater is quickly catching on fire, and that, without any type of intervention, this place is going to repeat the fate of what happened to it before. So you do have this open portal that beckons you to safety, and you also have your own moral compass of how do you reconcile perhaps leaving these people to their fate. What option do you choose?
Safety.
Is there a way to leave it open long enough to help more people escape?
Well, all the people.
I'm already through the portal. Like probably as soon as it was opened.
I went through and I took all the eggs.
Yeah, like and
All
this
right.
isn't just me being a jackass. Malsh is like it says boundaries firmly refuses to be near open flame. So as soon as there was an exit, I was out.
The flame's a little too bright, and I'm sensitive to it.
I would probably be like unhappy about the screaming noises all of those people are making, since I have like an audio thing, my character. But I'm gonna feel bad about it. But yeah, I'm gonna feel bad about it. But I've got to bail.
Skedaddle.
So, yep.
And
Fate
this
is repeated.
Fate is repeated.
All right, so you find yourselves in this warehouse that is 3 blocks away, and you see that as you pull the portal closed behind you, as you look through a dusty and smashed window, that the entire theater is just completely emblazed in fire, and no one seems to be leaving the building. Looming out of the roiling smoke, you see that it seems to be taking the shape of some type of twisted figure. It's sprouting wings and an arm, and if you didn't know any better, you would think that the cloud itself is menacing and cackling, but surely that just must be an illusion of the moon and the flickering flames, and you know that you definitely escaped some type of horrible fate, but
I put my hand on I can't remember the Leviathan's name.
Othram.
I put my hand on Othram's shoulder and established a spore-based communicative bond. Our song would have been kick-ass though, if we had gotten to play it.
True.
Like we would have ruled.
And 2 structure fires and an untold number of dead is, they say, how you can distinguish a good electro smaz performance.
I want to point out though that if people have died, that's just part of the cycle of living and rot and rebirth.
Also,
death,
if I may
death
add,
is it's just recycling. And
it's just recycling, though, guys.
And also, I might add, one of the ultimate goals of the Leviathan prototype, whatever you want to call a subclass, is that we intend to one day all reunite so that we can basically swap out all the soul shards that are mixed up among us and help those people find liberation. And I'm
that's
sure
that's your personal goal.
Yeah. If I can straighten out my shattered soul, then I suppose I could help those souls at some point too. So I'll just add that to my cosmic to-do pile.
We would have kicked ass though if we had played.
Yeah,
that's all. That's all I'm trying to say.
I have
was
a confession.
very excited.
What's
Yeah,
your
what's up?
confession?
I do not know how to play an instrument. I've been lying this whole time.
But we played sets together.
All
we
these
written
shows.
songs.
I faked it.
like a kid at church, just like Gloria.
The only thing that wasn't faked will be mouth noises.
Well, the mouth noises were really what made the LP sell, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's true.
Is that? I need to know where you got that mug, Max.
I don't know. I have a whole set of them. I bought them like at HEB half a decade ago.
All right, because it makes
Have
me
we
think.
broke in?
No, I was just thinking of some post commentary. I was just waiting for.
Do we have to roll a die to see if I have to give John one of these mugs?
Yes.
So, one of the things that the game focuses on is like personal responsibility and such. So it sounds like perhaps Othram, you feel a responsibility to putting those souls eventually back at rest, either the old or the new ones. The other of you, I'm thinking about your own character's dreams and goals. Perhaps this may leave some type of lingering stain. The name of the game itself is Sins of the Adventurer, so perhaps even though you had some obstacles and barriers, that there is some type of responsibility.
Jokes aside, Ian. Thinking of things from the point of view of, like, for both Max and I.
Oh yeah,
we're decomposers. Like our special existence is based on the cycle of death and
Roaches
rebirth.
and mushrooms. That's true.
Like it's hard to imagine that a creature that is essentially a colony that is constantly dying and being reborn would see individual deaths as a tragedy. I think I understand it and have empathy for the loss of, like, people like, oh, it's really sad that that person won't know this person in this form anymore. But
or maybe
and
like we look at clearing redwoods or whatever. Like that's a shame, but we can deal with it or whatever.
it's just
Yeah.
Personally,
Good
of
points.
course.
That
Good
is
points.
interesting.
Good points.
Morality from a species viewpoint would be interesting if we could talk it over with the. Actually, dogs seem pretty talkative and also pretty like cool, morally speaking.
I am like 80% of the way through Maggot Screaming right now, and there is a dog in that book that definitely has an interesting view on the mortality of its friends.
So it's interesting because without ever knowing anything about Maggot Screaming and then hearing Max wanting a character, as far as a fear that I gave Greg or Gregor is dogs. I gave.
Oh, interesting.
That's fun.
I try to make interesting pre-gens. So, all right. So unless your band wants to do other miscellaneous journeys in the city, we could call it here with the mystery of what happened in the past and what happened now as complete unknown events. And the Octavia
If I may be so bold.
again. Oh, be so bold.
If I may be so bold, this would make, since this is Sins of the Adventurers and it is about personal responsibility, this would make a great episode 0. Like a bunch of meatheads came into this town and like burned down the cinema and burned down the bar and put this poor mom and pop like meat pie place out of business. And maybe
stole
like
an
another egg. Yeah, and another more like morally centered band of adventurers could make up for our sins.
I've said this before, I'll say it again. I am morally opposed to murder hobo games and parties.
Yeah.
I really appreciate amping chaos up to its natural well, not natural, well, natural or unnatural levels, That said, there's also like Max as a newer player, like there's definitely a point in playing games where you like okay, let's do some murder hobo stuff because I'm new to this hobby and that was fun to me, which I think is fine. But also like this could have gone a lot of different ways. Like I was fully prepared to put on a kick-ass set of music to fight the ghosts.
I have a whole murder mystery that I wrote.
I just saw that damn candle, you know. I fucked everything up for everybody.
I know who did it. It was Max. Greg killed the guy.
What?
I would just like to say
I was defending
that
this.
I will be selling. I will actually be selling candles made out of goop that John exudes, with real murder-oriented items inside of them, on Etsy, and once I'm banned from there, somewhere else. If anyone's interested,
Matt Shaw still hasn't been banned from Etsy, so good luck getting banned.
So
yeah.
But so, and also the real fantastic thing is for the people who aren't in the chat stream, Aegis themselves is actually present with us as we are going through this adventure. So this does give us some opportunity that we can talk about inclusive gaming and what it's like to either like play something where that is something that you can really explore that to different depths, either something that you put it overt that you explore together, or if it's something that you have as part of your character without it necessarily taking an overt role. Like some people want display that to different levels depending on their comfort and what their personal narrative is. So
there's also, if I can interrupt real quickly,
Yeah.
and one of the interesting things about a game like this, where ableism is on not only on the table but kind of in the spotlight, is I think it's important to know that differently abled individuals don't necessarily live their lives with their differentiating aspects in the forefront of their own minds. It's more of something that as playing a character you should be mindful of, and to maybe highlight the fact that being differently abled does not mean disabled, right? Being differently abled, using adaptive technology does not stop one from being able to be a part of the adventure, to be a part of the group. And it doesn't, for instance, my character can't speak and has some issues feeling touch. But he finds ways to communicate and lives a perfectly normal for a mushroom man's life. So it's interesting, and I think it can be, with a game like this, it can be as much in the forefront of your game as you want it to be, or it might be something just to remember and to be mindful of, to have, as I would say, kavanah or intention towards.
One thing I'd add as my feedback for the game is that I found the variety and interestingness of the player character types, or like the character types you can choose from, the Void Stalkers, everything like that, to be really like more interesting than I'm used to seeing with a tabletop game. I don't know, some of them have pretty creative stuff, but you get a lot that's like standard fare. And there was a lot here that was outside of the box in terms of that.
I mean, building on that, one of the NPCs that I had that I always even thought about putting in your party just to like add like a vocal component before I knew that the Mushman was kind of a Tibetan throat singer, was an orc that was going to be like the frontman for a band, for example. And I like the fact that there was nothing about the orc race that was stereotypic, because that's been one of the contentious areas of like OSR D&D games is the racial stereotypes that come with that, and the kind of the racist cast from Tolkien and other people that kind of use that as a straw man to a degree. So the fact that that was so radically different was refreshing. Like, here I could play a ADHD afflicted orc that really wants to be the frontman for a band and eventually an actor, and I was like, that's refreshing that you could use inspiration from one area and not have it be degrading towards any type of actual or fictitious real world analogs.
So
Yeah.
I agree.
But
I think we should get into some housekeeping and let people know what our esteemed guest is up to and doing. Max,
Yes.
hello. I mentioned that you've written some stuff and you've done some stuff. What are you doing these days?
Thing
What are
or
you...
two here and there.
Yeah, my new book, Maggot Screaming, is out now. It's pretty much the same plot as the game we just played. So if you like that, check out Maggot Screaming at ghoulishbooks.com.
The image I pulled up for it is actually the audiobook
Nice.
cover, which is narrated by our friend John Wayne Comunale, who, like, to be completely frank, has no business being as fucking talented as he is. He's an extremely good audiobook reader. He has a lot of other amazing talents. It's super annoying how good he is at shit. But I'm about 80% of the way through Maggot Screaming, the audiobook version, and it's really fantastic. So highly recommend that.
It's next on my list. And speaking of accessibility, thank you, Max, for making that available as an audiobook, since my eyeballs don't work too good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
for getting it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am currently Arcanum Initiations is out right now. Arcanum Mysteries should be out within the month. So just go to my Twitter for more details at Sierra Bernard. And that's all I got. John, you got anything on your tray?
So, actually, John Wayne, same guy, is currently narrating my book, Jungles of Habael, which will probably be out before you know it, because John Wayne's super fast and super good at this. So that will be available on all the things. Also, this Friday, Stabburger Volume 1, Hindenburg 2 is going to be available on audiobook on Godless. Read by me, who is not as good of a reader as John Wayne Comunale.
Is there going to be Foley of stuff getting stabbed? Are you going to go in there with meat and a
there's going to be Foley of
my
gross mouth noises is what there's Foley of. I'm awful at this.
And then Stabburger goes
and then Stabburger what? And he but also the very first Kickstarter I've ever done is going to go live on August 1st. It is a compatible with Morkborg zine called Morkabeans 1-1, The Revolt. It is a combination of Jewish history and folklore, specifically around the Maccabean Revolt that instigated Hanukkah, merged with the brutal fantasy of Morkborg. Very excited about it. I have Rugos Cone and Old Raging Barbarian doing art stuff for it. I have various members of the Ex Libris Morkborg helping me, and Ian is doing editing. So it's an all-star cast, and it's going to be incredible. So go to Kickstarter and maybe follow that or back it. The link will be down in the things.
Before we, first of all, I will let Ian go with anything on his plate. I just wanted to say thank you to both our special guest, Max Booth III, who is awesome in every way imaginable. Somebody that is a
true.
personal hero to me. So, and Ian, thank you for putting up with our dumbasses, especially tonight, because we were extra unruly.
The therapist in me is just like, oh, this is such a great tool that you could use. And I'm just like in my head, I'm like, here are all these moments that we could have where we talk about feelings. For people who are new viewers, you'll know I'm the one who defecates rainbows and wants all the warm, fuzzy feelings. So I try to shoehorn people towards the end. I'll tell you, when I was a kid,
with my pessimistic ass.
Yeah, I know, it's interesting. No, literally though, when I was a kid, one of the things I wanted to be when I grew up was a Care Bear, and like legit, like when I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a Care Bear when I grow up. I'm like,
that's adorable. Yeah, I like that.
So,
I like that.
If you want to hear more about Ian's feelings, or specifically if you would like to hire Ian to edit and to help world build for your RPG products, you should go to One Moncast, where you can find my blogs about Morkborg and other TTRPGs, Charles's blogs about RPGs. You can find all about the cast other than Max Booth. You'll find out about Charles Patchkey instead.
And just interjecting there, as we are sending our thanks to people, and we also have Aegis Armorsmith, who themselves they are the author of this book, and really making a great effort to bring truly inclusive and representational play for either a frivolous exploration of feelings and things as we are doing here, or as something more in-depth, as either like a therapy tool or as a way to take something from a different campaign and translate it into what does it mean that after you've had a successful adventuring career that you retire and now you are wrestling with your dreams, fulfilled or unfulfilled, the things you've done and what you've done to accomplish them, and coming together to reconcile those, because there is a hefty toll whenever you deal with swords and gold. So as far as projects and things that I'm working on, like you said, the Morkabian Revolt, or Morkabian 1-1, is one of the things that I will be editing. Also working on a Morkborg module that we will likely be live testing on the 27th, called Trapped Within, which is a collaboration with Philip Jensen and myself. There'll be a really neat dungeon weird crawl that really explores some of the areas that have a deficit in Morkborg lore. So that's going to be quite exciting. Intentionally designed to really fill some of those areas that haven't been explored by all the multitude of other supplements. I'll also be editing Ogres 11, which is a heist-based game, following on a successful TTRPG source book that helps you to make heists from random tables. Let's do a more planned out Ocean's 11 themed fantasy heist. And then a couple of other projects in the works that I'm not able to discuss now, but we'll be able to get more details in the future. So hopefully everyone is having a fantastic Zine Quest 4. Again, if you like what is happening here with Sins of the Adventure, it is live on Kickstarter. 17 days left to go. And there are some great backer tiers where you can get some good rewards. And again, your pledge helps to support inclusive gaming for yourself or others. So definitely help make sure that this gets to fruition. Pledge now or save it so then you get a reminder from the final 2 days to put a pledge based on your level there. And fantastic. Aegis themselves is posting still in the chat. So thank you so much for being a part of this and being present for our adventure here. Feel free, if you want to make any other announcements or things, type it in the chat field, and we'll make sure we get that in before we close our program this evening.
Oh, we are closing our horrendous evening right this second. So do it quickly. Before we go, we'd like to thank our intro and outro music, Barbaria from Bog Wizard, off their album Purple Miasmic Smoke. We'll be back next week, where we will be playing another game. Mr. Patchkey will be back. Again, thank you, Max, for joining us tonight. We do appreciate your presence always. Friends, It's been a blast. We will be back next week. Until then, stay safe. Wait, nope, I skipped it. Thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey we call Wandering Monster. I have been John Baldisberger.
I've been Charles R. Bernard.
I have been Ian Servas.
I have been Greg.
Give us more wet mouth noises while you still have a second.
Call us up.